I'm back with another live stream. This is part 2 of the series Teaching in Dubai, question and answer, all you need to know. So let me just wait until the notification is out. I'm just waiting on some people to join. I don't know, every time I try to go live, there's always a problem. That's why I think it's better to go live. Hey, a touch of Taryn, it's better to go live on StreamYard. It's better for me. I don't know what's happening here. All right, guys, remember to like on your way in. Like on your way in, guys, please. Thank you so much. We're going to be starting in another minute or so. I do trust and hope that you guys can see me. All right, let me just go on this. You're using YouTube Live, boo. Yes, a touch of Taryn, because each time I try using YouTube Live, there is some amount of problem that I'm faced with. Remember the last time I started the live and I had to end? Today is the same thing again. So I'm just waiting to see. Okay, good. All right. Okay, good. All right. So I realize that you guys may be seeing ads now in the video. All right, so let me go right into the first question. And at the beginning, I'm going to be discussing teachers moving from the United States of America to teach in the UAE. I made sure this time I have my book so that I have all your questions written down so that I will be able to answer all your questions. Today, I will be splitting the live in maybe 3 sections. Hi, Digital Moment with Terina. Thank you so much for coming. So today, happy Thursday to you too. Today, I am going to be talking about those teachers who are in the US, United States of America, and want to teach in the UAE. Then I'm going to be looking at those teachers who are moving from Nigeria and want to teach in the UAE. I wanted to get more information about those teachers moving from South Africa, but I didn't get enough time to just chit chat with my friend to find out more details. All right, so guys, remember I'm seeing 4 people watching now, and I'm not seeing the likes going up. Guys, remember, let's get the likes up to the amount of people that is watching. All right. Are you guys seeing me? Guys, comment if you're seeing me, please. Let me know if you're seeing me now. Let me know if you're able to see me or you're seeing something spinning around. Yes, but a little blurry. I'm not sure what's happening. All right, maybe it's the internet that is going and coming. All right, nonetheless, I'm going to proceed. I do trust and hope that as we move into things, you will be able to see me a little bit better, because I'm seeing myself clearly on the screen, but for some reason, I don't know why you're not seeing me clearly. All right. Guys, remember to watch the ads as well, because that's the only way I will be able to generate a little funds from YouTube, and it doesn't really pay much, but it helps. All right. So let's get into it. Hello, that's Dam's Lifestyle. Thank you so much for coming. So in my last live stream, somebody asked me a question which I was not sure of the answer. I made sure this time I went ahead and did a few research so that I will be able to provide the answer in this live. If you can remember, in the last live, somebody asked me, is the teaching license and the teaching diploma from the US the same thing? From my research, yes, I found out that it is the same thing. Once you have your teaching diploma, you will have your teaching license in the United States of America. I also found out for those persons who are moving from United States of America, US, is that you will need your teacher's certificate certified by your state. All right, so you will need your teacher's certificate certified by your state. Also, if you don't have a teaching degree, this is for persons coming from US. If you don't have your teaching degree, you don't need to do a teaching degree. What you can do is to go ahead and do the teaching license degree, which is called Praxis, Praxis. So you can do that exam in order for you to be able to receive your teaching license, and that is what you need from the US. Once you got your teaching license, you're going to be required to go ahead and make sure that it is certified by your state. So whichever state you did the exam in, you have to make sure that it is certified from that state. All right. Hi, Ibert, thank you so much for coming. All right, and the next thing for those persons who are moving from the US, you will need to get your documents or your degree attested in the UAE embassy in US. So you will need to get your documents attested from the UAE embassy that is in the US. Also, you will need a criminal background check, or what is called a federal background check, to make sure that your background check is clean, to make sure that you're clean, you don't have any criminal records, and you are fit to teach in another country based on your background checks. All right, and same thing, you don't need any experience. Most private schools, take teachers without experience. Most government schools will require you to have 2 years experience. All right, again, it's not a must. Based on your experience, you will be given your salary. So sometimes if you can wait it out, go ahead and wait it out. You should know if you want to wait until you have the experience to apply, or you want to apply without experience. No problem. But don't allow not having an experience to stop you from applying. All right, so that's it for those persons who are moving from the US. Now, before I get into those persons who are moving from Nigeria, I'm just going to provide you with some other information based on questions that was asked. All right, so can you take your partner? Based on the laws, the current laws in the United Arab Emirates, your partner is only classified as your spouse. You have to be married in order for you to take your partner here on your contract. If you're not married, you cannot take your boyfriend or your common law husband in the UAE. You have to be married, have a marriage certificate certified in your country to say yes, you are married, in order for you to take your partner here in the UAE. Next thing, if you have a family, when you are applying for a job in the UAE, you want to make sure that you read the job description and the details, because you want to make sure that the job say it's accepting teachers who have a family, because some jobs, in the description it will say to you that the accommodation that they're going to be providing or the benefits are for single teachers. So you don't want to go ahead and apply for that job knowing that it says clearly that it is only accepting single teachers. Then you're going to want to negotiate with the school. It doesn't make sense. So make sure that when you're seeking jobs and you have a family, make sure from the get-go you apply to schools that are taking teachers or that are providing benefits for teachers with a family. All right. I'm seeing a question from Stanley. I'm looking for a teaching position in the UAE. My major is in English and completed my master's and my B.Ed. Stanley, what is the question? Are you asking me, can you get a job? Because I'm not seeing any question. You just post that you're looking at job and your major is in English. I see that you have a B.Ed, which is a Bachelor of Education. So that would provide you with the opportunity of getting a job in the UAE once you have a B.Ed degree, right? So you can go ahead and ask your question so that I will be able to answer to your question. All right. What's the difference between the contracts that are provided? Now, there are two types of contract that are provided in the UAE. You have limited contract and unlimited contract. Most schools currently provide limited contracts. Some will provide unlimited. Now, as it suggests, unlimited means that there is no fixed end date. There's no fixed end date. There's a starting date, but there's no end point. Now, in that, for the limited, there's a start date and there's an end date. Now the question is asked, can I renew my contract after the end date? Yes, you can renew your contract after the end date, but this decision is taken by both parties. That include yourself and the school that you want to renew your contract, and so both parties are going to meet to negotiate and say, okay, yes, we're going to accept you, we are going to renew your contract. All right. Now, for the fixed date contract, you have a probation period. For both of them, you have probation periods. Probation can last from 3 months to 6 months. For some schools who have 3 months probation, sometimes based on your situation or based on your performance, if you did not meet the requirements in 3 months, they will extend your probation to 6 months. If after the 6 months you have not met the required standard by the school, then they can ask you to leave and they can ask you to return home. Now, will they provide you with airfare to go back home after you have not met the standard for the school? No. You will be left on your own. You will have to find your airfare to go back home if it's it that you did not pass your probation. Okay? So you want to make sure that you do everything. You perform, you have good relationship with parents and teachers, you have good relationship with the students, because that is very important. You have good classroom control, and you are doing everything to ensure that you pass your probation. All right. So the probation period can be from 3 to 6 months. All right, and 6 months is the maximum. So if after 6 months, that's it. All right. Now, can I leave my contract before the end date? This is where the benefit of unlimited contract will come into play. Because with unlimited contract, you can give between 1 to 3 months notice, and then both parties agree on a date that you are going to leave, then you will be able to leave. With a limited contract, if you want to leave before your end date, there's some things you have to make sure that you read your contract properly, because for some, they can ask you to pay back a portion of your airfare that they used to bring you into the country. Also, they can ask you to pay for the housing, a part of the if is it that you were staying somewhere outside of the school-owned building, right? And they can ask you to pay, I think it's 30 days salary, which would equivalent to 1 month. So you have to make sure that you read your contract properly so that you know exactly what is the benefits, what are the clauses, just in case you want to leave. All right, guys, remember to get the likes up to the number of persons that are watching, please. Thank you. Let me just go into the comment section. Okay, how to approach getting a job in the UAE. All right, if you want a job in the UAE, one, make Google your best friend. As I said in my previous live, make Google your best friend. What you want to do is to go online and search for schools in the UAE, jobs in the UAE, vacancies in the UAE, teaching jobs in the UAE. You can narrow it down to say teaching jobs in Dubai, teaching jobs in Abu Dhabi, teaching jobs in SYRIAN. You can use the 7 Emirates because they're taking teachers all over the UAE, right? Make sure that your CV is up to date. Make sure that your CV is up to date. All right, that's something that you want to work on. So before you apply for any job, make sure that your CV is up to date, so that if you're called to the interview, you will have everything. They will be able to say, okay, this person have everything that I'm looking for. I can ask him or her for an interview. All right. Do teachers have opportunity to pursue master's program? I would say yes, you can do, you can study part-time or you can study online. But the thing with that is that the UAE do not pay teachers who masters was obtained fully online. So if you did your masters fully online, then you will not be paid for it. So you can do part-time face-to-face and then you will be paid for it, but they do not accept, they do not pay for masters that are solely done online. Teachers in the UAE can also check with or get information from them. Thank you so much, Digital Moment with Terina. Guys, you can go over to her channel. She also have contents that she can provide you with for teaching in the UAE as well. She's also a Jamaican here, and she also have other experience. So she's saying that teachers in the UAE can also check with or get information from the Minister of Labor before they resign or break a contract. Just make sure they know the law. Exactly, make sure that you know the law, right? I know of a situation where a teacher wanted to resign during probation, and the school was asking the teacher to, she was staying in an hotel, and the school was asking the teacher to pay the remaining portion of the rent for the hotel. And when you went to the ministry told the teacher, no, do not pay any money. Do not pay any money. Once you're in probation, you're free to leave, right? And also in your contract, it did not state that you will have to pay anything. So make sure that you know your contract. Make sure that you know the law. If you have any problem or any question, you can visit the Ministry of Labor in the UAE to make sure you have all your queries answered. All right. The next thing is, will my spouse get a job? I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. If your spouse is not a teacher, is not in the business field, or I would say maybe the military, it will be very difficult for you to find a job. It's not impossible, but it will be very difficult. All right, unless you're he's going to take a job that is below his qualifications. But it's going to be really difficult if he's outside of those fields. So business, meaning accounting, anything related to banking, the military, the police, those I think is much easier. That's based on my experience from talking with friends. But outside of that, it can be really, really difficult. All right, see guys, Terina is saying in the chat, it cost me a lot of money when I resigned from my first job, including 45 days base salary and one-way flight. Good. So you have to make sure you know exactly what you're doing, because here she's saying that it cost her 45 days base salary and one-way flight. How do you know your base salary? Your base salary is what you're given, excluding the allowances. Now, when you add everything to the when you add the base salary and the allowances, that's when you have a good package. Good. So the base, some schools normally give you a small base salary and a very high allowance. When it comes to calculating your gratuity, that's when that is going to come in play, because your gratuity is calculated on your base salary. So you want to look for a job that is giving you a high base salary and a small allowances. All right. Thank you, TT. Is it compulsory to attest marriage certificate if I'm coming with my family after getting a teaching job? Digital moment with Terina, can you answer this question for me, please? Because I think yes, you have to get your marriage certificate attested in your home country or if you're in another country and you can get that service done, then you can go ahead and do so. But I think you have to get your marriage certificate attested. Okay, see, digital moment with Terina is answering in the chat. Yes, it is compulsory to have it attested. My two friends had to get their marriage certificate attested. See, guys, it's good to make sure you have good supportive friends online to help to back you up with these answers for some questions that you really may not know about. All right. The video quality seems to be poor. I'm not sure why. Okay, digital moment with Terina is saying it should be attested in both your home country and in the UAE. Thank you so much for that. It should be attested in your home country and in the UAE as well. So make sure that you get your documents attested, and you also have to get it translated here as well. So you're going to have to pay to get it translated in Arabic in the UAE. All right. Oh, see, that was my next question. That was my next question. Do I have to attest my marriage certificate? So, yes, you have to attest your marriage certificate. All right. This question: can I get a reference letter from a school to use as a cover-up for not literally having 2 years experience? Can it work? I'm going to tell you the honest truth. That is lying, and you're going to have to be looking out every minute to ensure that somebody don't find this out, or you're going to be shivering to hoping that nobody finds out. If you do not have the year's experience, do not lie, because it may come back to hurt you in the long run. If you do not have the year's experience, it's okay. It is okay. Schools in the UAE are accepting teachers who are just leaving university, so there is no need to lie, or there is no need to get a letter from a school to state that you are working in the school when you were actually not working there. All right, so there's no need to lie. Again, they take teachers who are newly qualified teachers in the UAE, meaning you're fresh out of university, no experience, you have never been inside a classroom before. UAE take those kinds of teachers here. No need to lie. All right, if you have the experience, all the better. You have no experience, it's just as good enough. All right, and see, Georgia Lifestyle is saying NQT. That's what you will see on the job offers. You will see we're accepting NQT, which means newly qualified teachers. Thank you so much, guys. You can also check out Georgia's Lifestyle. She is a teacher here from Jamaica. All right, so you can check her out. She's teaching at the primary level, so she too will be able to provide you with additional information, because remember, everybody's experience is different. And Georgia posed a good question in the chat. What if the schools decides to call for verification? Right there and then you're going to run yourself in problem, and you don't want to do that. So I'm saying to you, don't run yourself in that kind of problem. All right? Schools will also consider your years of experience with the diploma as well as the degree. That's true. So if is it that you're saying that you have 10 years experience and you started your degree at this time, or your diploma at this time, and you finish at X time, how did you get a job prior to not having the qualifications? All right, so to be honest, no need to lie. That's just the plain truth. No need to lie. The next question is, can I apply without my passport? You're going to need your passport in order for you to travel, right? Even though the process is long, make sure the moment you decide that you want to be an international teacher, or you want to work in a foreign country, make sure that you have already applied for your passport. If you have not yet done so, it's not too late. You can go ahead and do so, and then in the process of applying, you can say to them that I am waiting on my passport. But this is if you're using a recruitment if you're using a recruiting agency, because if you're going to go to a school, they're going to ask you for these documents up front, right? So my advice is, if you're going to go directly to a school, make sure that you have your passport ready. If you're going to go through a recruiting agency, then you can start the process and explain to them that you're in the process of applying for your passport, and this is the waiting time, so they know exactly what to do. The next thing says, the next question that is, I am not a certified teacher, but I have taught for 5 years. Will that count as experience? Yes, it will count as experience once it can be verified that you were actually teaching. It can be used as your experience. but you want to go ahead and get your qualification so that you will be able to back your experience with your qualifications. It says, thank you TT, Georgia and Digital Moment. In addition to my previous question, would they give me permission to enroll for a face-to-face part-time master's program if I am ready to fund myself? As long as it is not going to interfere with your day-to-day responsibility of being a teacher at the school, then I think it's okay. It's okay. As long as it's not going to interfere with your job, then it is okay. I think they would grant you permission to study as long as it's not going to interfere with the day-to-day responsibilities that you have at school. I hope I'm answering your question. All right. The next question is, can I wait until I come to the UAE to get the documents attested? Now, remember that you're going to need 2 stamps on your documents. So you want to get your documents attested in your home country first, and then you're going to need to get it attested in the UAE. If there's a UAE embassy in your home country, you have to make sure that it is also attested in the UAE embassy in your home country. All right? So please make sure if it is attested if there's a UAE embassy in your country, it is attested there. All right, so the two most important things that you're going to need to get attested is your degree and the transcript. If you did a teaching diploma outside of your degree, then you're going to also need to get your diploma attested along with the transcript for your diploma. The next question is, when I arrived in the UAE, will they keep my passport? It is not allowed by law for them to keep your passport, but based on experience, in previous school, they held on to my passport for 4 months, right? And that's another story which I may not discuss on this live, but it is not allowed by law. If you go to the Ministry of Labor, you can find out this information that they should not, or it's not allowed for them to hold on to your passport. The only time you need to give them your passport is for them to process your documents, such as for you to go and do your your medical, for them to sign you up for you to do your medical, and also to process your Emirates ID. All right, so based on law, it is not allowed for them to hold on to your passport. My case may have been different. I don't know what was the reason for that. All right. After I get the job, what's next? Now, after you receive the job, what's next? You have to provide some information. That is the time you have to provide your reference letter. Some schools are going to ask you for it at that time. Some schools may ask for it before. But you're going to have to provide your reference letter. All right? I'm seeing that Terina is saying, Digital Moment with Terina is saying recommendations should be attested as well. Right, recommendations should be attested as well. And the next thing that should be attested is if your last job letter should also be attested as well. because I know of situations like that. Your last job letter should also be attested. All right. Right, that's what I'm saying. The experience letter, as Georgia just mentioned, the experience letter must also be attested. Thank you so much. That's what I was saying. So your last job letter, right, should be attested, because that's the most important thing. All right, so that should be attested. Now, moving back to the question, after you get the job letter, after you get the job, what's next? All right, so you will be given your contract to sign. Make sure that you read the contract thoroughly so that you will be able to sign it. Also, you will be given 5 days to provide your degree attested, your transcript, and the recommendations. All right, after that process, what's next? You will have to, what's next? I think you have to wait on them to send off your documents to the Ministry of Education in the UAE to get approval to say, yes, it's okay to hire this person. After that, now you're in the UAE, what will happen? When you come to the UAE, you will have a medical to do. In the medical, you will do a chest x-ray, and you will also do a blood test. All right, it's a very thorough blood test that you will have to do, and you will do a chest x-ray. All right, then you will also need to walk with money to process your Emirates ID. That is, after you're in the UAE, the Emirates ID costs 350 dirhams. Most times you are the one paying for this, so you can go ahead and do the conversion for yourself. It is 350 dirhams. All right. The next question, will I be picked up at the airport? Yes, you will be picked up at the airport. For most instances, I know they may not tell you exactly who is going to pick you up from the airport, but there will be somebody waiting for you. Now, that person is going to have a card holding up to say, I am Tamika Tashana Calder, so-and-so school. All right? So you will be able to see that person waiting for you. So all you have to do is to be looking. Sometimes it may be the principal, sometimes it may be the school driver, sometimes it may be somebody that the school pays to pick you up, all right? But you're going to be in safe hands. The UAE is a very safe country. No need to worry. Once they say to you that somebody is going to be picking you up, then trust the process that you are going to get to your destination safe. Thank you so much, Samantha, for joining. I'm not sure why the quality of the live is so poor. All right, so Georgia is saying most schools pay for the medical and Emirates ID. Some schools you have to pay for the Emirates ID, they will pay for the medical. Because for my school, they paid for the medical. I don't remember if they paid for the Emirates ID, I'm not sure. But I know of cases where you have to pay for your Emirates ID and the school will pay for the medical. All right, can you choose where to do the medical? No. The school will determine which location you will go to do the medical. They will set the appointment, and they will also have the driver or somebody from the school take you to do the medical. That is not in your hand as to who or where. You have no control over that. All right, so see, Terina is saying I paid for my Emirates ID card. All right, so again, some schools will pay for it. As Georgia's Lifestyle says, some schools will not pay for it. So you want to make sure that when you're coming, you have the money to pay for your Emirates ID. The next question is, will I be placed on probation? I think I may have answered this question previously, that yes, you will be placed on probation. As I said previously, some probations can be 3 months, some probations can be 6 months. Your probation can be extended from 3 months to 6 months. If you did not meet the requirement and the school decide that, hey, I think she has potential, or he have potential and I want to keep that person, but there's some things that they need to work on. They can decide, make a decision with you that, hey, I'm going to extend your probation for this reason. This is what you need to work on. Now, during your probation, you are going to have frequent observation. Sometimes it may be twice a week, sometimes it may be once, sometimes it may be every week, sometimes it may be every 2 weeks. You're going to have frequent observation. There's not going to be a set day to say, hey, I'm coming to see you today, right? Sometimes, like, if they want you to work on something, they will say, okay, work on this, we're coming back at 2 weeks time. Make sure that you have this ready. Make sure you work on this by the next visit. All right? Hi everyone. Vanessa, thank you so much for coming. Not sure if anyone asked this question already. Is it best to take cash or card to the UAE? You can take card and you can take cash. Most places take card. The thing is that the exchange rate on the card that you are going to be taking, it may be high depending on the currency in your country. So if your country use US dollars, then I think it would be okay because you know the conversion rate. But for me, like using my Jamaican card here, that would have been super high. So I would prefer to have the cash. So I know, okay, this is what I have, this is what I'm working with, and then I just convert the cash to dirhams. So that way I know exactly how much money I have. So again, it depends if your country is US dollar, if the currency is US dollar, or if the rate is going to be too much, or will you be able to manage the conversion rate. All right, I hope I answered your question. I think I did this one as well. Can I resign during my probation period? Yes, you can resign during your probation period, but again, you have to make sure that you know your contract. Some school will say you're on probation, so you don't need any notice from either party. Either party can terminate the contract before probation is up, right? Some schools require 30 days notice. Some schools, depending if it was 6 months. If it's 6 months probation, then some schools are going to require 30 days notice. All right? So you convert the cash when you get there or before. Samantha, what I did was, coming from Jamaica, I bought US dollars, and once I got to the UAE, I changed my US dollars to dirhams. Okay, so once I have the US dollars, then when I reach the UAE, I'm going to change that to dirhams. All right, so that's what I did. That's another important thing too, digital moment with Terino. If you're going to be using your card outside of your country, some banks may require you to tell them or to give them notice that you're going to be traveling to X country and you're going to be using your cards, because you know scamming is very high now, and so you don't want them to block the card and you're not able to access your cards and you're left without funds. All right, so find out from your bank before if you need to give them notice or if it's okay. If you need to give them notice, then go ahead and say to them that I'm going to be traveling to this country and I'm just giving you notice not to block my card. Because some banks, if they see that you're using your card in a strange country, this is a country that you have never used your card in before, then right there and then it's going to raise a red flag and they're going to block the card and try to get in contact with you. All right, the next question is, how do you answer this question? Do you have experience teaching the British or American curriculum? I am from West Africa and we follow the West African Examination Council syllabus. All right, I am from Jamaica. We follow the Caribbean Examination Council syllabus. It's not American, it's not British, but it has some similar content. And so when I was answering the question, I said I don't have experience teaching the American curriculum and the British curriculum, but based on my knowledge, some of the things that is done in my curriculum is also included in the American curriculum. It's just that the strands and the syllabus are set up in a different way. For example, back home we have maths, and in the US they would have algebra 1, they will have geometry, they will have further calculus and all those things. But in Jamaica, sorry, we just call it mathematics, and we do statistics, we do algebra, we do geometry, we do everything under one umbrella. So what I say is that I have experience teaching some content of the American curriculum. It may not be everything, but I have knowledge of it. So that's what I mentioned in my interview. And some schools, it doesn't matter if you have American or British curriculum experience. Once you're looking for a teacher and they see something good in you, then they're going to accept you to do the job. So even though you're following the West African Examination Council syllabus, I would say to you, still go ahead and apply to those schools. It will not be different in its entirety. Some things may be different, but I'm sure there must be some form of similarities in the content. I have a friend from South Africa who is also in the UAE, so I don't think it's strange for them to accept teachers from Africa or from South Africa. All right, the next question is, do I have to get a teaching license from my home country before coming to teach in the UAE? All right, so my answer to this is, if your country uses a teaching license, then you are going to be required to have your teaching license. All right, if the country you're moving from have a teaching license, then when you get to the UAE, you're going to be required to present your teaching license. For me, coming from Jamaica, we don't have a teaching license. So all I had was my diploma, my degree, and my transcript, and that was it. Because my country don't use a teaching license. So I could not provide them with something that my country don't use. All right? Samantha says, I have been on some sites and it says that schools use an automated tracking system to find the best CVs. So So they recommend you get a professional to rewrite your CV. Would you recommend that? All right. For me, I did get some professional help in writing my CV. That was when I was looking my second job in the UAE. So yes, I would recommend it. But if you can get if you can go online and you can find the latest model of writing your CV, then you can also use that. What you want to make sure is that your CV is up to date. You want to make sure that your CV is up to date. All right. But yes, you can pay to get professional help, or if you can do it alone, then that's okay. All right. I paid somebody to help me to do mine. That was okay as well. I got my job. So again, it's your choice. All right. If you want to have it done by a professional or not. All right. The next question says, my first degree is in economics and statistics education. If I'm applying for a teaching job, should I apply for a job related to the subject I did? Yes. If you're applying for a teaching job, you have to apply for something that is in economics or something that is in statistics, because you are only going to be given a job based on what is on your qualification. So if I'm a maths teacher, I have to have a degree, a teaching degree in mathematics. All right, because you're only going to be given a job based on what is written on your qualifications. All right, the next question is, do I get sick days on probation? Do I get sick days on probation? Based on my experience, I don't think you get paid 6 days. Once you're absent, then that money is going to be deducted from your salary. All right, because if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. All right. I know in some cases what they will try to do is, if you have a letter from the doctor, and that letter again has to be attested, everything has to go through the right channel. It has to be stamped right by, I think it's is it the DOH? I'm not sure. I have to check that out. I don't remember. Right? So it has to be stamped. Then some schools will try to deduct half a day salary, while some schools will deduct the full day salary. And if you're absent 1 day, 1 day salary. If you're absent 2 days, it will now be calculated at 1 3/4. There's a rate that they use. There's a pattern that they follow. All right. In a nutshell, if you have not passed your probation, then your sick days will be deducted from your salary. Can you reveal schools or websites I can get teaching jobs in the Emirates? All right. I'm not based on my understanding, I'm not able to give you outright my school name. But what I can tell you to do is that you can go on various websites. You have Teachaway. I'm going to be doing a video on that, so I want to save some of that information for that video. You have Teachaway. You have EdVectors. You can use Google. You have Direct Recruitment Specialists. You have EdArabia. You have so many other websites that you can use. All right, so try to get yourself acquainted with those. The next question is, what if I fail my medical? If you fail your medical, I think then you have to return back to your home country. I have never heard of any cases where somebody failed their medical, but I would want to think that if you fail your medical, then you are not physically fit to carry out your job, and so they would want to tell you you have to return home. Because one of the things is that in order for you to actually get the job, all right, so you're in the country and everything, but in order for you to get a probation to sign, you have to complete those things. And one of those things is that you have to present your medical report to the school, which when you go and do the medical, then they're going to send this information to the school. Because I did 2 medicals in this country, sorry, and I am yet to see the results was sent directly to the school. All right. All right, the next question. I don't know what's wrong with this. What's the salary like for those non-native English speakers? I know of a situation where it can range from 5,000 dirhams to 8,000 dirhams. That's if you're from a non-native English speaking country. It can range from 5,000 dirhams to 8,000 dirhams. All right. So you want to make sure that in applying for the jobs, you make sure you look to see the details if they're actually accepting teachers from your country. Some schools will state specifically that they're looking for native English speakers. Some schools will say it doesn't matter. All right. So once it doesn't matter, you want to go ahead and grab that opportunity to apply for those schools. What jobs are in high demand? All right, and that's in the teaching field. So you have maths teachers, English teachers, science teachers, early childhood education teachers, also primary education teachers. You also have special education needs teacher, so that's SEN teacher. You also have physical education teacher. You also have guidance counseling. So once you're a teacher, I would say grab the opportunity and apply for a position, a teaching position in the UAE. All right. So Samantha is saying, I don't think it would be a matter of failing the medical. It would depend on what you have. Something will not prevent you from working. Right. So so I think that's a good point as well. It may not based on your condition, it may not prevent you from working, but in some cases, if it's to the extreme, then I think they may consider that as failing the medical. But some conditions you have will allow you to work. It will not hinder you from carrying out your day-to-day activity. So I don't think that will pose a problem for you. All right, thank you for mentioning that point. All right, the next question is, I thought you weren't doing this anymore. Hi Sally, thank you so much for coming. I posted the questions, I posted the poll, sorry, on IG and Facebook and on YouTube. So I'm glad you also catch this one. All right. The next question is, are resources provided to enhance the lesson? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Resources are indeed provided for you to enhance your lessons. You will have resources on top of resources on top of resources to carry out your job. Do you have a chance to further your education while teaching in the UAE. I don't think you have like a study leave or something like that, but I think if you can manage the workload between teaching, carrying out your day-to-day activity, and studying, then I think that should be okay. All right, next one. Is everything expensive or affordable? I would say some things are expensive, like going to the theme parks and like some attractions. But normally the thing with the UAE is that there's a lot of sales and specials, so you can catch those specials. Sometimes they will have teacher special, they will have doctor special, and based on your field that you're working in, they will have special to cater to you. So things are accessible and you will be able to enjoy yourself nonetheless. If you are going alone and opt for the housing the school provides, do you get an apartment for yourself or do you share with other teachers? All right, good question. I am here in the UAE alone. My school provides accommodation for me. I'm the only person that is staying in this accommodation. But there are some schools that would say to you that they're only accepting single teachers, and the reason why is because they're providing shared accommodation. All right, so some schools provide fully furnished accommodation for yourself, while some schools provide shared accommodation for yourself along with other teachers. It can be one, it can be two, it can be three. What are the facilities that you're going to be sharing? You're going to be sharing common areas such as the kitchen, living room, and bathroom. There are some schools that will provide you with your own bathroom and you only have to share living room and kitchen. So you may have your room and your bathroom. It depends on what the school is going to provide for you if you opt for that option. You're welcome. The next question is the salary tax-free? Yes, the salary is indeed tax-free. That means whatever you see that is being advertised or being put on job offers is what you're going to be getting. That is what you're going to be taking home. You decide how you're going to be spending your money. For the schools that provide shared accommodation, is there a way to know which schools beforehand? Yes. In the job offer, they will say to you that we are providing shared accommodation. Let me see if I can find one of those job offers for you. I think I have one. Let me just quickly find one. There are some schools that they're going to mention this in the job offer to say we are taking single teachers and we are providing shared accommodation. So yes, you can know because you're going to see it in the job description. I'm just trying to find one of the latest offer from. All right, let's see. All right, so this one doesn't say, but here is a opportunity for a Nigerian teacher, and I think it's for a new position in Nigeria, not in the UAE. So this wouldn't work. This wouldn't work. Let me see if I find another one. All right, so this one says that it's providing benefits for teaching couples and families are very welcome. So it will say in the description, once you go to salaries and benefits, then you are going to see exactly what they're providing you with. If is it that they're going to be providing you with shared accommodation, or if is it that they're going to be providing you with your own accommodation, it will be mentioned to you. What is the minimum salary for a primary school teacher? All right, so the salaries are not based on primary school teacher, middle school teacher, high school teacher. It's based on your qualifications and your years of experience. It's not based on which grade level you are teaching. It's based on your qualifications, your years of experience. That's how you know your salary, or that's how you're being paid. And I said again, it depends on your nationality, which country you are from, because you're paid based on your passport. Sally, did I answer your question? Sally, did I answer your question? All right. The next one is, I have a degree in entrepreneur and teach English as a foreign language. Can I get a job? You will be given a job in entrepreneur based on what's on your degree. So again, whatever is written on that qualification is what you're going to be paid to teach. All right. So yes, you can get a job, but it's going to be based on what's on your qualifications. All right, I think the next question is, do schools provide transportations? Some schools provide transportations, some schools don't. Some you can carpool with your friends and you can pay a portion of the gas. You can afford to pay this amount for gas. All right. Some schools, they will have a bus that will take you to school. For example, in my previous employment, I was riding with the kids on the kids school bus, and I was paying 350 dirhams monthly. Right? So it depends on what is being offered. I didn't know that my school was not going to be providing transportation, or maybe, let me not say I didn't know, maybe I did not read all the details to say, okay, they're not going to be providing transportation, and I overlooked that part because I really wanted the job. So make sure again that you read everything about your salary and the benefits. All right? Sorry, I was typing another question and couldn't answer in time. Okay, no problem. For a maths teacher with 5 years from the Caribbean, what's the proposed salary? The proposed salary can range from 10,000 dirhams to 14,000 dirhams. It can range from 10,000 dirhams to 14,000 dirhams. You can do the conversion, all right? Okay, answer that one. Okay, so I'm going to just get into helping out my Nigerian friends, all right? So what you're going to be needing if you're coming to the UAE from Nigeria, what are you going to be needing? I'm going to just be sharing a few information with you, and these information I actually got from somebody that is actually from Nigeria. When I called him, I was like, do you mind me asking which country you're from? And he's like, no, and he says, I'm from Nigeria. I'm like, yes, perfect individual to answer my questions. All right, so if you're coming from Nigeria, what you're going to be needing is your bachelor degree. You're going to be needing your bachelor's degree, and you have to get it attested from the Ministry of Education in Nigeria, right, which is the UAE embassy, and you're going to have to attest it there before coming to the UAE. All right. Then when you come to the UAE, you're going to have to take it to the Nigerian consulate to get it attested again before taking it to the UAE Ministry of Education. All right. So you have your bachelor's degree. You're going to bring it to the Ministry of Education in Nigeria. Then you are going to take it to the UAE embassy to get it attested before coming to the UAE. Once you get to the UAE, you are going to have to take it to the Nigerian consulate to attest it before taking it to the UAE Ministry of Education. Now, when you take it there, you're going to get an equivalency to the degree that you have here. So they're going to match it up with a degree in the UAE, so you're going to get what is called an equivalency. All right, that piece of paper is very important. When you have that, it means that you can also apply for other jobs once you are in the UAE. I also asked in the question, would you advise somebody to come to the UAE on a visit visa, then apply for your teaching job, or apply for your teaching job prior to coming here? His advice is that it depends on luck. He came here on his visit visa, and within 1 month he got a teaching job. But he knew of other experience where they came here from Nigeria, and even after 3 months or 6 months, that person did not get a job. All right, so it's a win-win situation. It can be a win-win situation, and again, it depends on luck. So to play it safe, you may want to apply before coming here, but it can happen. You can come here and then apply and you get a job, and it might as well, it may not happen. He's saying that there's no license if you're coming from Nigeria. There's no license that is needed. But what he would advise is for you to do your IELTS. He recommends that you do your IELTS every 2 years. That's something that he does personally, right? He completed his IELTS every 2 years so as to be updated. And the IELTS is just to say this is your English level. Because remember, you're from a non-native English-speaking country. All right? I hope I did answer your questions. That's for persons coming from Nigeria. Is there like an official or unofficial Jamaican/Caribbean place to meet others from the same country, like a community? I'm not sure. I know that there is a Jamaican community here. We have a WhatsApp group that we would communicate with individuals in. And from time to time, we would normally have meetups and just celebrate, have potluck where we cook and eat and chat and play games. But since COVID, that has not been happening, so we just communicate via the chat in WhatsApp. As to meet other individuals, you can meet other individuals from anywhere. You can just go outside and meet people from anywhere. But again, sometimes for me, I think it's really difficult. I communicate with other nationalities from work, so I have a South African friend. Yeah, I don't think I have any other close-knitted friends from other nationalities. Most of my friends are Jamaicans. So I think it can be somewhat difficult to get friends, but it's not impossible. It can happen. You just have to be open-minded and just go outside to venture to meet new people. All right. Do you have teachers from the Fiji Island teaching in the UAE? I'm really not sure. I'm not sure about this question, but maybe I know you have a wide variety of expats here, so maybe there are teachers here from Fiji that I don't know about, but they may very well be here, because the expat rate here is like 80. I think the last time I checked it was probably 83% expat, and the remaining portion was locals, Emirati. All right. Thank you. You're welcome. Is there any other questions? I'm forever saying that my video quality for this video is really poor. I may have to do a sit-down video and answer these questions, because I'm not liking the outcome of this video at all. But I may save it or I may not save it. It depends. All right, I think I've answered all the questions. There's just one other thing that I need to mention, and it's private schools and public schools. That question came up as well. To me, I don't really see the difference, but this is what they say. For private schools, you have multinational nationalities. So you can see persons from the Caribbean, from other countries in the private schools. But for the public schools, which is government owned, you mostly find locals or Arab speaking students. For the private schools, you will find a mixture of everything. Arab speaking students, English speakers, French speakers. You can find a vast variety there. How often do you have class visitation from your superiors? All right. Know that I am not on probation. There are 3 formal observations that I have, 3 formal observations, and then I will have maybe 6 not formal observation, unofficial observation, where they just do a walk-in just to see what is happening and just to make note, so that when you're going to have your formal observation, you know exactly what is it that you need to work on. So I would say I have 3 structured formal observation, and then I have some walkthroughs, maybe 6 walkthroughs for the entire year. It depends. Now for online learning, they can just pop in and pop out, so you will see them more frequent. Teachers who are going to take their families should get all legal documents attested, including birth certificate for their children, school reports, transcripts, just for those going joining the live late. Thank you so much, Digital Moment with Terina. Thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you so much. All right. If you have children that you are going to be taking to the UAE, you have to make sure that every important document for that child or for those children are attested in your own country. If it's that it's not being done, then it's going to cost you a lot, because you're going to have to send back these documents back home to get them attested before you can get them attested in the UAE. And as Digital Moment with Terina says, their birth certificate has to be attested, okay? Their school transcripts and reports have to be attested, all right? And I think you have to also, if you're married and you're coming here without your spouse, you have to get a legal document from your spouse granting permission to take that child into the country, all right? Do you get it attested at the ministry? Yes. So you have to also get it attested there as well. I think, Terina, correct me if I'm wrong. For the birth certificate, do you get it attested at RDG, or do you have to also take it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? But all documents have to be attested, guys. All documents have to be attested. So you want to make sure that you have everything. All right? I hope this live is very useful and that you're learning a lot of things that you will need. All right? Is there anything else? Did I miss anything? Did I miss any questions that you guys have? Guys, remember to like up the live for me. Share out the live. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and share. Yes, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So Samantha, you have to get the documents attested at Ministry of Foreign Affairs. All right? You have to get all the documents attested at Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So the birth certificate, the school reports, and the transcript all have to be attested at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in your home country. And for those persons like Jamaicans who don't have the UAE embassy, then when you come to the UAE, you're going to also have to get it attested. And so, yeah, you have to get it attested from the UAE Foreign Affairs here. And for those persons who have the UAE embassy in your home country, you're going to have to get it attested there, and then you will also have to take it to get it attested here as well. All right? So for every important document, you're going to need 2 attestation stamps on all important documents. 1 from your home country and 1 when you get to the UAE. All right, did I miss anything? All right, let me just see what Tara says. The permission letter should be signed by a JP, then attested at Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You should also have a copy of the father's passport signed, stamped and signed. All right, guys, so that's it. If you're going to be taking the child here and the spouse will not be here, you have to get a signed letter. And as Digital Moment with Terina is saying, because she have her kids here, you can also check out her channel for more information. Is that letter for Jamaicans have to be signed by a JP, then attested at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, right? And you should also have a copy of the father's passport stamped and signed. All right? So that is very, very important. If you have children and you're moving to the UAE, you want to take these information very serious and make sure that you have everything so that when you come to the UAE, you will have a smooth transition. All right, any other questions? Is there any other questions? Guys, share out the live, please. Is there any other questions? Did I miss anything? I hope I didn't miss anything. Oh, okay. What about worshiping on Sundays and or Sabbath? What about working on Sundays or Sabbath? Do Christians given the freedom to worship their Jesus in the UAE? All right. Now, remember that the work week in the UAE is from Sunday to Thursday. If it's it that you go to church on Sunday, There will be church service available on Friday for you to attend. But churches in the UAE are on Friday and Saturdays. If you're a Adventist and you go to church on the Sabbath, yes, you will be allowed. You are given free, you can freely worship your God on the Sabbath. If you go to church on the Sunday, then those church service is available on Fridays. Your church will meet and you will gather, and the church will take place on Friday. All right. I don't know of any church service, maybe like Bible class or so, but the actual service that normally takes place on Sunday is now moved to Friday. All right. And you will be able to enjoy your church service just as much as if it was on the Sunday. All right. So normally during the week, like Sunday to Thursday, you will have like Bible class, youth meeting, leadership meeting, and so on. All right. Any other questions? You're welcome. All right, so thank you guys so much for coming. Guys, you can go ahead and leave a comment outside once you're finished. If there's anybody that have any questions that you want me to answer, I will also answer those in the comment section in the chat as well. Is there any Christian schools in the UAE or only Muslims? When you say Christian schools, what exactly do you mean? Meaning that they have other days of going to school? I know that every school opens in the UAE on Sunday to Thursday. And like for the Indians and the Pakistans, based on their curriculum that they follow back home, I think their summers are different, their summer times are different. So I think now they're probably on summer break and then they will go back to school maybe after 2 months. So I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question. Is it that you want strictly Christian schools to say this is a Christian school, or is it that you're talking about other days of going to school? Thank you so much, Georgia's Lifestyle. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me out in answering some of these questions. Guys, please remember you can also check out Georgia's Lifestyle, Digital Moment with Terina. All right. They also have some very informative videos about teaching in the UAE and living in the UAE. All right. So you will get to see different perspective, and you will be given additional information as well. Because I'm currently teaching middle and high school. They're teaching elementary and primary. So you have a bulk of information available. Guys, also if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so. Black Girl TT, thank you so much. Did I answer your question about the Christian schools in the UAE or no? All right, so see, Digital Moment with Terina is also answering to the worship service. She says, yes, TT, small group worship meetings are held during the week. Okay. All right, so you're well. Okay, thank you so much. I'm glad that I was able to answer your questions. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for joining me today. If we have no other questions, then I think it's going to be time for me to end this live. If we have no other questions, I think I can do a video, a next live stream, maybe next week, Thursday, talking about the benefits of teaching in the UAE. By now, I think I should have answered all the questions about teaching in the UAE, how to get a job in the UAE, what are the steps that you should follow, how to apply for a job in the UAE. If you need additional videos, you can also find those on my channel. I have a playlist solely for teaching in the UAE, what are the requirements and everything that you need to know as well. Also, I have these live streams. I did one last week, Thursday. I have this one. And yeah, you can also check out Digital Moment with Terina. You can also check out George's Lifestyle. All right, we're all Jamaicans here in the UAE, giving you our perspective from the Western world about living here in the UAE. Is it difficult? Is it easy? Or are we coping here? All right, guys, I think that's it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know it's your girl TT signing out. Bye, guys. Thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you for staying. Thank you so much, Terina. Big up TT blowing up on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Bye, George's Lifestyle. Thank you, Shannon. She says great life. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Manasa. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so that when I have a next live, you will be able to see, and you turn on your post notification bell so that you don't miss an upload. Also, Sally, make sure you also subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any videos. All right, bye.